Hi, welcome to the channel. Today is the third day of the eighth chapter, that is make your attitudes your allies. Let's start. Grow the your important attitude. This is a fact of paramount significance. Each human being, whether he lives in India or Indianapolis, whether he is ignorant or brilliant, civilized or uncivilized, young or old, has this desire. He wants to feel important. Ponder on that. Everyone, yes, everyone, your neighbor, you, your wife, your boss, has a natural desire to feel he is somebody. The desire to be important is man's strongest, most compelling non biological hunger. Successful advertisers know people crave prestige, distinction, recognition. Headlines that produce sales read like this: for a smart young homemakers, persons with distinctive tasks, use. You want only the best. Be the envy of everyone. For women who want to be envied by women and admired by men. These headlines, in effect, tell people buy this product and you put yourself in the important class. Satisfying the craving, the hunger to be important carries you forward to success. It is basic equipment in your success tool chest. Yet, and read this sentence again before you go on. Even though displaying the attitude you are important gets results, and even though it costs nothing, few persons use it. A little feel in is needed here to show why. On the philosophical side, our religions, our laws, or our entire culture is based on the belief of the importance of the individual. Suppose, for example, you were flying your own plane and were forced down in an isolated mountain region. As soon as your accident was known, a large scale search for you would begin. No one would ask, is that fellow important, without knowing anything about you except that you are a human being. Helicopters, other aircraft, and searching parties on foot would begin looking for you, and they would keep on looking for you, spending thousands of dollars in the process until they found you, or until not one trace or hope remained. When a little child wanders off into a woods, or falls into a well, or gets in some other dangerous predicament, no one is concerned with whether or not the child comes from an important family. Every effort is made to rescue the child because every child is important. It's not too wild a guess that of all living creatures, probably not more than 1 in 10 million is a human being. A person is a biological rarity. He is important in God's scheme of things. Now, let's look at the practical side. When most people shift their thinking from philosophical discussion to everyday situations, they tend to forget, unfortunately, their ivory tower concept of the importance of individuals. Tomorrow, take a good look at how most people exhibit an attitude which seems to say, you are a nobody, you count for nothing, you mean nothing, absolutely nothing to me. There is a reason why the you are unimportant attitude prevails. Most folks looks Most folks look at another person and think he can't do anything for me, therefore he is not important. But right there is where people make a basic blunder. The other person, regardless of his status or his income is important to you and for two giant dollars and cents reason. First, people do more for you when you make them feel important. Years ago in Detroit, I rode a certain bus to work each morning. The driver was an old grump. Dozens, maybe hundreds of times, I saw this driver pull away from the curb when a widely waving, shouting, and running passenger was just a second or two from the door. Over a period of several months, I saw this driver show a special courtesy to only one passenger, and this passenger was shown special courtesy many times. The driver would wait for this passenger. And why? Because this passenger went out of his way to make the driver feel important. Every morning he greeted the driver with a personalized, sincere "Good morning, sir." Sometimes this passenger would sit near the driver and make little comments like, "You sure have a lot of responsibility. It must take nerves of steel to drive through traffic like this every day. You should keep this thing on schedule." That passenger made the driver feel as important as if he were piloting a 180 passenger jet or Lion. And the driver in return showed special courtesy to the passenger. It pays to make little people feel like big people. Today, in thousands of offices all over America, secretariats are helping salesmen make sales or lose sales depending on how the salesman has treated them. Make someone feel important and he cares about you. And when he cares about you, he does more for you. Customers will buy more from you, employees will work harder for you, associates will go out of their way to cooperate with you, your boss will do more to help you if you will only make these people feel important. It pays to make, it pays to make big people feel even bigger. The big thinker always adds value to people by visualizing them at their best. Because he thinks big about people, he gets their best way out of them. Here's the second grand reason for making others feel important. When you help others feel important, you help yourself feel important too. One of the elevator operators who carried me up and down for several months, I had the look of complete unimportant written all over. She was 50ish, unattractive, and certainly uninspired in her work. It was obvious that her longing to be important was completely unfulfilled. She was one of the millions of people who live for months at a time without ever being given a reason or to believe that someone notices them or cares about them. One morning, shortly after I became one of her regular uppers and downers, I noticed that she had her hair redone. It was nothing fancy. It was obviously a homemade job, but it had been cut and it did look better. So I said, "Miss S." Not I had learned her name. "I do like what you have done to your hair. It really looks fine." She blushed, said, "Thank you, sir." and nearly missed her next stop. She appreciated the compliment. Next morning, Ayo and behold, when I stepped into the elevator, I heard, "Good morning, doctor's words." Not one time before had I heard this operator address everyone by name, and in the remaining months that I had an office in the building, I never had anyone called by name except me. I had made the operator feel important. I had sincerely complimented her and called her by name. I had made her feel important. Now she was repaying me by making me feel important. Let's not kid ourselves. People who do not have a deep down feeling of self importance are slated for mediocrity. Again and again, this point must be driven home. You must feel important to succeed. Helping others to feel important rewards you because it makes you feel more important. Try it and see. Here's how to do it. Number one, practice appreciation. Make it a rule to let others know you appreciate what they do for you. Never let anyone feel he is taken for granted. Practice appreciation with a warm, sincere smile. A smile lets others know you notice them and feel kindly toward them. Practice appreciation by letting others know how you depend on them. And Ernest, Jim, I don't know what would we would do without you. Type of remark makes people feel necessary, and when they feel necessary, they do increasingly better work. Practice appreciation with honest, personalized compliments. People thrive on compliments, whether 2 or 29 or 90. A person craves praises. He wants to be assured that he is doing a good job, that he is important. Don't feel that you should hand out praise only for big accomplishment. Compliment people only compliment people on little things, their appearance, the way they do their routine work, their ideas, their loyal efforts. Praise by writing personal notes, complimenting people you know on their achievements. Make a special phone call or a special trip to see them. Don't waste time or mental energy trying to classify people as very important persons or unimportant person. Make no exceptions. A person, whether he is garbage collector or a company vice president, he is important to you. Treating someone as a second class never gets you first class results. Number two, practice calling people by their names. Every year, shrewd manufacturers sell more briefcases, pencils, Bibles, and hundreds of other items just by putting the buyer's name on the product. People like to be called by name. It gives everyone a boost to be addressed by name. Two special things you must remember: pronounce the name correctly and spell it correctly. If you mispronounce or misspell someone's name, that person feel that you feel he is unimportant. And here's one special reminder: when talking with people you don't know well, add the appreciator title, Miss, Mr. or Mrs. The office boy prefers Mr. John to just John's. So does your junior assistant. So do people at every level. These little titles help tremendously to make people feel important. growth. Don't hog gallery. Invest it instead. Just recently, I was a guest at an all-day sales convention. After dinner that evening, the vice president in charge of sales for the company passed out awards to the two district managers, a man and a woman, whose sales organizations had attained the best records for the year just ended. Then the vice president asked those district managers to take 15 minutes to tell the entire group how their organizations did so exceptionally well. The first district manager, who I later learned had been appointed a manager only 3 months before and was therefore only partially responsible for his organization's record, got up and explained how he did it. He conveyed the impression that his efforts alone caused the sales increase. Remarks such as, "When I took over, I did such and such things were in a mess, but I cleared them up. It wasn't easy, but I just grabbed hold of the situation and wouldn't let go," characterized his talk. And he asked, I could see the increasing resentment gathering in the faces of his salesmen. They were being ignored for the sake of the district manager's personal glory. Their hard work, which was responsible for the sales increase, was completely unrecognized. Then the second district manager got up to make her short talk, but this lady used an entirely different approach. First, she explained that the reason for her organization's success was the wholehearted effort of her sales force. Then she asked each one to stand and paid a sincere personal compliment to each for his or her efforts. Note this difference: the first manager squandered the vice president's praise entirely on himself. In doing so, he offended his own people. His sales force was demoralized. The second passed the praise on to her sales force where it could do more good. This manager knew that praise, like money, can be inverted to pay in dividends. She knew that passing the credit on to her salespeople would make them work even harder next year. Remember, praise is power. Invest the praise you receive from your superior. Pass praise on down to your subordinates, where it will encourage still greater performance. When you share praise, your subordinates know you sincerely appreciate their value. Thank you so much. We will meet again in next session. If you are new on the channel, subscribe the channel and press bell icon. Don't forget to like and share.